Welcome everyone to Raceface TV. Before we get started tonight, we here at the Raceface family just wanted to send all of our condolences to the terrible tragedy that happened in Las Vegas this week. Our hearts and our prayers go out to you. Well, we've got a great lineup for you tonight, headlined by young 16-year-old Garrett Manes from Richmond, Virginia. But before we go to Garrett, let's take a look into our Raceface brand development driver updates. This week we are starting out east, where Sheldon Creed competed in the NASCAR K&N East Series on Friday night at Dover International Speedway, where he qualified 7th. Sheldon was leading the race with 30 to go, but cut down a right rear tire, resulting in an unscheduled pit stop, but battled his way back to another top 5, crossing the finish line in 4th place. Up next was going to be stadium trucks in Beijing, China. However, just before the show started, I was informed that the race was canceled early this morning. Sheldon, if you're watching, I hope you're not in China. Shifting out to the Midwest, let's check on Raceface driver Sam Mayer, who was scheduled to run the Fury Race Cars Super Late Model in the Marion Edwards Memorial 100 at New Smyrna Speedway in Florida. However, this race was canceled due to rain. Now, the race was canceled at 11 a.m. The problem, it didn't rain. So what's up next for Sam? He's back in the Midwest Truck Series at La Crosse Speedway, where he will attempt to go back-to-back and bring the #1 truck back in to victory lane. Cross country now out to the west, we find Raceface driver Adam Lemke. He competed in the Western USAC HPD Midget Series at Madeira Speedway on Saturday night, where he brought home a 2nd place finish in his heat race, and then duplicated that effort in the main with another 2nd place finish. Up next for Adam, Junior Late Models, the 5150 Energy Drink Junior Late Model Series from Madeira Speedway this Saturday night. Now we're going to stay out west and find Raceface driver Jesse Love, who was also at Madeira Speedway in his USAC HPDM Western Midget, where he set fast time, won his heat race, then brought home a 3rd place finish in the main. Jesse continues to lead the pavement and overall championship battles. Jesse already won the USAC HPD Dirt Championship on dirt. So what's up next for Jesse? Well, right at the 5150 Energy Junior Late Model Series from Madeira, where he has already clinched that championship. I'm going to be traveling to Madeira tomorrow to spend some quality time with both Adam and Jesse and support them in their final junior late model race of the season. And very humbled to be a part of that championship celebration. Congratulations, Jesse. So what does a young racer do in his time off? He tests. Jesse was at Mazda Raceway at Laguna Seca. Now keep in mind, this young racer is only 12 years old. Check out this in-car video from that test.
All right, you're good.
Okay, thank you.
that was amazing. And there's more testing for Jesse over the next couple of months on the road courses as he is getting certification to be able to race in the future. As you can see, the race-face drivers are keeping busy as the 2017 season starts to wind down. I want to make an announcement about a new segment for our show that will start in November, and it's called Race-Face Track of the Week. We're going to go around the country highlighting some of the historic short tracks, talk a little bit about the history of that track, some of the famous names and drivers who have raced there, and this will also include interviews with the owners or promoters. It's going to be very informative, and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Now we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with young 16-year-old Garrett Manes.
I'm JDRF.
I am JDRF. I'm JDRF because...
I am JDRF.
Because... Type 1 diabetes is hard. I am JDRF because I advocate.
Because I am helping research progress.
Because I am part of a community of hope.
Because I believe we can find a cure.
I'm JDRF because I'm gonna beat this.
Type 1 diabetes won't hold me back.
We are JDRF.
We are JDRF because we do big things.
We are JDRF
Because they're the ones at the front lines doing what we need.
Every morning when I wake up, I am JDRF.
I am JDRF because I want an artificial pancreas.
Because I am the mother of a type 1.
Because I'm a fighter. Because I believe in them.
Because I want my kids to say they used to have diabetes.
Because I want to help others.
Because I believe we're all working together.
Because together we can build a community.
Helping to just raise awareness for type 1 diabetes.
I am JDRF because I want to see a world where type 1 becomes
type 9 diabetes. I am JDRF because I want a cure.
Well, the 2017 racing season is about to come to an end, and I hope all of you had the successes that you had hoped for. Now it's time to focus on 2018. Yes, for the true racer, there is no downtime, and the real race is starting now. And that's the race for sponsorship dollars. Are you ready? If you're looking for a competitive edge, then I encourage you to check out Race-Face University. This is an 8-week online course that's geared to give you both a competitive advantage on and off the track. Go to racefaceuniversity.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, I'm Garrett Manes, sponsored by Enlight. We're here in Dallas, Texas for the red carpet world premiere of Light Up to Live. In Charlotte, I had a collarbone broken. I had surgery on it, and I lost feeling all the way down to about halfway down between my elbow and my shoulder. So I didn't have feeling, and the doctors told me I never would. And they put me on the lights, and I regained the feeling. They sponsored me down in Charlotte for Legends Racing, and that's where it all started. Well, our goal is to move through the ranks of NASCAR and bring exposure to the troops and PTSD and TBI, what Enlight can do for them and how it can change their lives and bring them back. And since being diagnosed on the spectrum of autism at age 2, it's very close to my heart. As I travel around the country racing, I race for the cause.
Well, welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that last video that we saw. That's a little bit of an introduction to our next guest, 16-year-old Garrett Manes, who is joining us from up in Virginia. Garrett, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're really happy that you're here. So I could see that you've got some simulators set behind you. So let's kind of start there, because I know that you're a big iRacer. So tell us a little bit about how iRacing has helped you with your career.
Well, I've been on there pretty much 24/7 whenever I get a chance. It's really taught me pretty much most of what I know. It's the main source of a lot of my experience. It's given me a feel for a ton of different cars and the way they handle. It's just given me a feel for different things that I haven't had the opportunity to drive yet.
Well, let me ask you something about the tracks. Now, we had Ty Majeski on last week, and Ty and I was talking a little bit about the iRacing experience and everything. So when you race on iRacing and then you go to a track that you've raced on, does it really help you out when you get there? Does it have a lot of the same similarities?
The tracks have a lot of the same similarities, but it comes down to, did you learn it correctly by yourself? Because like when I went to the bull ring, for example, that was like my favorite track on iRacing before I even went there in the legend car. But when I came back from the bull ring and tried to race it on iRacing, it completely changed the way I did it. And I picked up, and I was literally the guy to beat all of a sudden. It just changed the way I drove the track, changed my line, and it gave me a killer run off the corners.
Okay, I got you now. So let's talk a little bit about your 2017 racing season this year. Give us some highlights of what's been going on. What have you been racing? The different types of cars, and give us some of your results, because I know you've been winning out there.
Well, we started off with arena racing earlier in the spring. That went really well. We won a ton of races. We swept a lot of nights with the A-Main and the Top Dog wins. We almost won the championship. We ended up finishing second, but we had really strong finishes. We actually missed a week, that killed our chances at it. But we were very close considering. We came within, I think, 10 points, being 30 points down. So we're happy with that. After that, we moved on to the legend cars at Charlotte for the summer shootout. We started off really strong. We were on the pole the first two nights, with the invert. When everybody's right there in the same time frame, it's really hard to get by people there. But in the rain, same scenario. We got inverted. We got stuck where we were. It was a single lane at the high line. And I ended up following the leader down into the corner a little bit lower than where the dry stuff was. I slid up just enough, and when I got on the brakes, the guy behind me didn't push us into the car in front of us. It broke the right front. But for the rest of the season, we learned from our mistakes. We continued on. We found a lot of speed. We picked up some time. We were competitive in the races.
Well, that's the main thing. So I think we're going to go right now, and we're going to take a look at a video from the Charlotte shootout where you actually got on your lid a little bit. So let's take a look at that video, and then we'll be back and ask you some questions about that.
Battling at the front of the field, Talladega, Daytona, and the quarter mile at Charlotte. The only three tracks in America where you can pull that one off.
I wouldn't have added the third one to it until I just saw it with my own two eyes. And they're still not done. Garrett Manes up and over a wild ride here at the front stretch.
Holy mackerel. Believe he went over at least 3 times in a barrel roll. Garrett Manes going to walk to the ambulance. Here's a replay on it. Over once, twice, 3 times. And wow, he walked away from that race car.
Manes crosses the stripe while they race behind him. They'll all see popsicle sticks, 2 furled flags in the air. Kyle McGowan, now just a lap and a half remaining for Garrett Manes. Again, a week ago, right here in turn 4 was on his lid. Now he's 1 lap away from victory in the Bojangles Summer Shootout.
Garrett Manes sets that car down into turn number 1. Left side tires touches the white line. Now onto the back straightaway for the final time. Has a 2-car length, a 3-car length advantage. Back down to 2-car lengths. He wadded it up last week, and he's going to victory lane tonight, winning the VP Racing Fuel Legends Car Semi-Pro feature.
Come on over here, young man. We're going to chat a little bit. This is going to be awesome.
Well, Garrett, that had to be an exciting adventure there on your lid. Tell us a little bit about that wreck and what happened.
From what I remember, we were just it was a hard battle. The racing had got really close there for the last couple laps. We were 3 wide down the straightaway, I think like 2 rows deep. It's very uncommon at Charlotte. That is not something you want to see as a driver, but it was definitely exciting to watch the replay. Right as it started to get sorted out, the racing got really tight into the corners. And, I pushed up just a hair. He came down just a hair. The contact made him lose. He came down, clipped me. I came up, clipped his front nose, and I mean, it was on from there. Really, everybody asked me, how did it feel? What was it like flipping? I'm like, I don't know. I closed my eyes for it.
Well, you hear a lot of the guys talk about the flipping. They said the flipping isn't that bad. The scary part is when everything goes silent, and that's when you kind of know I'm in the air. And so, the cool thing about that video, that I think the tagline on the video is "What a difference a week makes." So you come back the next week, right? And tell us what happened.
We had a completely new car. I mean, that wreck literally totaled it from motor to chassis to every other part on the car. I pretty much got out with my seat and my steering wheel. That was all that was left. But we got in the new car. We shook it down the next week. We luckily just scuffed tires the week prior, so we had pretty good tires to be racing on. I think it gave me something to shoot for. Like, we were so close the week before. We had an unfortunate ending, but let's go redeem ourselves.
Well, that's pretty cool. So that should teach whoever told you, bring me the checkers or the steering wheel.
Yeah, that's literal right there.
There you go. So that's exactly what happened there. So a little bit of legend racing. You're doing the arena racing. What is your focus right now? So looking forward to 2018, where do you see yourself?
Well, I think our goal for 2018 is to get into late model stock cars, to really move up into bigger vehicles, get some experience in big cars, just to get you some experience with the higher horsepower, the power steering. Because I've tested a late model one time before, and that is one of the biggest things that changes from a legend car or a mini cup. The power steering completely changes the way you work the wheel.
So I understand you've done some testing in a truck so far, and I was also told that went pretty well.
Yes, we went down to run the Auburndale race. I feel like it's called the Joey Cutler's 200. It's a charity race at Auburndale Speedway. It was in a pro truck, and the first night out, I think we were 4th fastest, and I'd never been in a truck before, so we were very happy with that. We went on the next day to pick up even more time. We were in the competitive time zone. Like they said, if you can run this time, that you can win the race.
And so you were there, first time out. That's pretty impressive. So let's get a little bit personal here for just a couple of minutes. At a very young age, you were diagnosed with having autism. And I know that's become a big part of your wanting to give back and raise awareness, if you would, from autism. So share with us a little bit about that experience and where your focus lies with that.
Well, when I was 3, I was diagnosed on the spectrum of autism. I mean, ever since then, I really didn't know what it was at that time. It took me a while to even, realize that, I had the symptoms of it. I just never really paid attention to it and never let it slow me down. But it definitely had social impacts on me. It still does today. But I haven't let it stop me from racing. It's helped me excel, I believe. It's really given me the focus. It's given me something to shoot for with my racing.
Well, I think that's awesome. A lot of people come down with different things, and stuff happens to all of us, but a lot of people kind of crawl into a shell and then want to look at things and say, oh, well, I can't do this because of that. But to me, it looks like you've done absolutely the opposite. You've taken something, you've made the best out of it, and I'm going to just be truthful with you. The people that I've talked to over the last few days says, this young man is the real deal. And that's a great compliment. And I really applaud you for attacking it that way, if you would.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been trying to, get my skills toned in for future races. Just really been trying to really show that we have what it takes, and to really represent that, autism doesn't have to stop you from doing what you love. I mean, with me, racing, it's the one thing I truly enjoy.
And I know that you've got some pretty good sponsors that you're already lined up with. So share a little bit with us about some of the sponsors that you're currently working with.
Well, right now we're working with Pearson Mazda. That's a local one here for us. They've sponsored us in arena racing for many years. Inlight Medical, we met them with that interview in Texas. That was where we actually met the people with Inlight. And that's where it really took off for us there. They've done a lot of stuff for us through sponsorship, really getting us off on our feet for future events. CBD Living Water just flew me out for the Legends race at the Bull Ring. I really appreciate what they did there for me. It's just been a great experience.
Well, that's pretty cool. I did a little research on the light therapy, and that just amazed me. And we talked a little bit before the show off camera, and you were sharing with me how much difference that actually made. So, you know what? It's good that they've done that for you, but I think you're going to be able to do great things for them to basically help them go out and get more exposure about how that therapy actually really helped you through the healing process. And I guess it's still helping you today.
Yeah, I mean, I use it all the time. I mean, if I think I'm going into a really tough race or I'm really going to need the mental focus, I'll put them on. I'll sit there on them while I'm racing. I'll put them on the setting that we found the most helpful, and I'll go out there and race with it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, I may have to borrow those lights from you a little bit. So I got a few health issues. I got a lot of health issues actually that I could use some help with. So before we end up the show, okay, before we end up the show, I want you to look in your crystal ball, and I want you to look 5-6 years down the road. Where does Garrett want to be?
Well, I truly want to be in the cup level. I want to be in NASCAR. I really think we got a long way to go. It's a long road ahead of us. We got a lot to learn, but I think we can do it with the right backing and the right teams behind us. I think it's a great opportunity.
Well, that's what I wanted to hear, actually. I wanted to hear that that's where you wanted to go. We want to let everybody know that Garrett has joined the RaceFace brand development family. We're just privileged to have him on board. We look very, very excited about helping you out in 2018 and moving forward. Okay, thank you very much, Garrett, for being on the show. Is there anything else that you want to add before we take off for tonight?
Also got to thank SRI for their continued support. They've been a great help in the past, and hopefully they'll continue in the future.
All right, well, everybody, there you had it, man. What an amazing young man. So again, we want to thank you for tuning in to RaceFace TV. As we always end up every single show that we do, we want to encourage you to go out to your local tracks and support local racing in your community. Don't forget to go check out Garrett's Facebook page, like his page. Have a great race weekend, and we'll see you all back here next week.